Hi everybody, it's Joe Chaffee on this Sunday. This is video number 2 today. Okay, so if you missed it, just check it out on the YouTube channel. There is a video that deals with the development of the tropical systems in the Caribbean and east of the Windward Islands. I did it separately because we do have weather to talk about, especially for tomorrow. So we are looking at what could be a pretty extensive severe weather event for Monday. Now, here's the Storm Prediction Center's view of Sunday, where we have slight risk from from much of Vermont through most of upstate New York down into western and central Pennsylvania through the Ohio and Tennessee Valley, and then swinging into the lower Mississippi Valley. And then you have this marginal risk line that runs just a little bit further to the east of there. But it is a Monday that we are particularly interested in. This actually is yesterday, the Storm Prediction Center had already put in an enhanced risk area. That's pretty unusual 2 days ahead of time. But we do have this large area of slight risk from western North Carolina through Virginia all the way up into northern New England. And then you have this area of enhanced risk for western and northwestern New Jersey, the Hudson Valley, northwestern Connecticut, into western New England and extending southward into the Washington, D.C., Baltimore area and northeastern Virginia. So this basically covers the big cities from Washington to Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York City, just to about Hartford or so. Boston is in the area of marginal risk with slight risk to the west. So if you want to extend it northward from there for practical purposes, you certainly can do that. So if you're traveling by air, especially tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night, check with your airline because there's likely to be delays up and down the entire corridor of the East Coast. Okay, so let me just show you what's going on in terms of today. First off, out in the west, the big issue is heat in the southwest, and there's all sorts of excessive heat advisories and warnings and that are running probably through the middle part of next week. We've got this big ridge here in the west, and you actually can see the outline of this ridge pretty well on the satellite loop. When we put it in motion, you can see how these clouds are kind of rolling up to the northeast. This big upper high is the reason why we have this deep trough in the eastern part of the United States. And when we look at the eastern satellite view today, here's the severe weather for Sunday that will be breaking out as we go later on. Low pressure moving across the Great Lakes. Not a bad day across the northeast and mid-Atlantic states overall. There's a lot of low clouds to deal with today, but there'll be some breaks of sun or at least some brightening of skies as temperatures warm up into the warm and humid 80s. I think other than an isolated downpour or a thunderstorm, much of today should be fine. So if you've got outdoor plans for Father's Day, I would probably go ahead with them. It's Monday that is going to be problematic. And here's the radar view from mid-morning. And you can see the action is already generating well to the west, but not that much happening here in the east. Now, the severe weather outbreak for Monday is being caused by this a deep trough that's swinging across the Great Lakes and northeast. And you can see it here on the upper air right there. There's a very, very strong, what we call a shortwave trough that's swinging around. And you've got also a very, very strong south-southwest jet along the east coast. Good tropical air, good tropical forcing, a lot of very warm, humid air coming in. A strong cold front, cooler air behind that front. Obvious temperature contrast that's going on at the surface. So you know the dynamics are all there for a pretty strong severe weather outbreak, and we'll show you on the NAM model. They're all kind of on the same page, so I'm going to use the NAM model view that's the most aggressive of the bunch, and fingers crossed that it comes in to be something less than this. But I think the look of what the NAM does makes a lot of sense to me. So we'll just show you here for Monday. Now this is later Monday afternoon, so we are now at 6 p.m. and you can see there's this broken line of thunderstorms that runs from central New England southwestward across eastern Pennsylvania into West Virginia, and then that line gets pretty hefty here by 8 o'clock. It's a pretty solid north-south line that's developing. So, I'm not sure. The model has it specifically concentrated in northwest New Jersey down into southeastern Pennsylvania. It certainly could be there. It could also wind up being further north and east of there. But bottom line is that this is a pretty extensive line of storms being indicated and by the models to be moving through during Monday night. The daytime Monday may not be too bad. I mean, there might be the stray isolated downpour, but it really isn't until the mid to late afternoon that front really starts to generate some big cells. This is 5 o'clock in the afternoon Monday. You start to see these big cells developing across northwestern New Jersey and parts of northeastern Pennsylvania, and then they move on through. I'll put the temperature. I wanted to show you the temperature profile at the surface. Show you what we're dealing with here. Because this is some very warm, humid tropical air that's coming up ahead of it. The dew points are going to be pretty high tomorrow. We'll probably get those dew points to be in the low 70s. I wouldn't be surprised. Let all these maps load up here. But depending on how much sun we get tomorrow, certainly you can see temperatures up into the 80s. This is via the NAM. When we look at I'm not sure, can I do the dew points here on this? Let's take a look. Sometimes I can't show you dew points here, but bottom line is that we are going to see some very, very moist air, and there's also pretty strong jet. And this is at the 5,000 foot level. You've got pretty strong south-southwest winds coming up the East Coast ahead of the cold front, which is probably right about in here somewhere. When you look at the winds here, they're all from the west. You look at the winds here, they're all from the southwest and pretty strong. This is again at the 5,000 foot level. We'll jump up, and let me just jump up a little bit. We'll go up a little higher. Let's go to by the way, I'm up in northeastern Pennsylvania today, so the background looks a little different. That's the reason. Now here's that at 5,000 feet in terms of the actual wind, the wind speeds being indicated at that level. And you've got some, this is 64 knot winds being shown. And this is about where, if you look at here's the wind profile at 5,000 feet, okay? So I'm going to overlay now the surface to show you what the radar looks like at that time. So right in that area here is where we had those strong. Here's these strong thunderstorms, and it's right where you got that max, that 850 millibar wind maximum at 64 knots. And look, this is a pretty extensive, intense line that's being shown here. So bottom line is this: we've got this enhanced severe weather threat. We've got the threat for some flash flooding as well from southeastern Pennsylvania and much of New Jersey except the southeast, going all the way up into the Hudson Valley and into northern Connecticut. And by the way, I should caution, because I had somebody post on my Facebook page that they said that there is no flash flood watch up. There is a flash flood watch up for Monday. It is not up for today. So if you don't happen to see it on whatever weather outlet you use, be it online or TV, if they're not indicating the flash flood watch up for that area, it's because it's not up at this moment. It's been put up for later tomorrow and tomorrow night. So let's look at the longer range pattern real fast. I'll jump over to the global model so we can take a look at the upper air quickly. And by the way, right there, that's the system in the Northwest Caribbean that's forecast to move into the Gulf and become either a tropical depression or a tropical storm. But again, we addressed that on a separate video earlier. You can take a look at that. It's on the YouTube channel. So here we go. Here's North America. We'll take a look at the pattern overall. Going forward, you've got this deep trough in the eastern part of the United States, this ridge in the west, which is where the heat is at the moment. And going forward, as these maps load, I apologize for the slowness today, you can see the next trough swings in for the end of the week and in the weekend. And by the way, let me just back up. With respect to the tropical system, the key to the tropical system's track, if you look at the what's going on in the upper air here. You've got this ridge off the Atlantic coast, you've got this ridge out in the Pacific, and there's this trough or a hole in the middle. So the tropical system is going to respond to the strength of these ridges on either side and the depth of this trough. If either of the ridges are stronger, it could mean for a track more toward the west. If they're weaker, it'll be a natural response for that tropical system to gravitate toward the opening in between. I mean, that's the way I pretty much see it with respect to the tropical system. Now here's that, the trough in the upper air swings around. You continue to have this pattern where weather systems are moving along. Even going into the very beginning of July, you still have a tendency for troughing here in the east. So the bottom line is that could it get warm and humid for a couple of days? Absolutely. Could it get hot for the odd day here and there? Sure. Are there going to be long-term, long-lasting heat waves in this pattern? No. In fact, with these weather systems in the jet stream continuing to come down from the north and swinging around into the northeast, it would say that we'll get weather fronts coming through here every couple of days, which will probably mean the weather will start to be a bit wetter than what we've seen over the past couple of weeks. Some areas have been wetter than normal, some places drier than normal, depending on where you are. So we may see some evening out of all this going forward with this very active weather pattern that seems to be in place. Okay, so if you want more on the tropics, by the way, check out the video that was cut earlier. It's there on my YouTube channel. You can also check out the latest website posts on meteorologistjoechaffee.com. Angry Ben has the New York City angle to the equation at nycweathernow.com. You can download my app and subscribe to my forecast for just 99 cents a month for New York City, Long Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, and the Hudson Valley, and eastern Pennsylvania. You can get it on Google Play or on iTunes. And thank you for being on my YouTube channel. Subscribe to my YouTube videos by hitting the little red subscribe button. It's absolutely free, and you get notified when new videos are posted, which is usually once a day, but in a case like today, I did two. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.